Hey there. As you may know, my sleep sucks. Well, it did suck. Now it actually doesn't suck as much. I never really have trouble falling asleep. It's just that I wake up in the middle of the night nearly every time, sometimes for 3 to 4 hours. The next day, I generally feel crappy, and who knows what it's doing to my long-term health. Leading studies? Well, they can give an indication. Nostradamus? He's dead. And also, is that real? Father Time? I don't... It was a rhetorical question. Anyway, again, it has been improving lately. When I wake up, I'm not up quite as long, and my sleep has gotten better, and I feel like I have more energy in the day. And I've compiled a list of all the things I've done to fix it, and I've divided it into 2 parts. One is the big lifestyle changes, and the other is just the smaller, practical, in the bedroom tips. I'm not talking about what you're thinking, although that might work. Jumping on a pogo stick will, wear you down a little bit. First, the lifestyle tips. Number 1, acceptance. It's just gonna suck sometimes for me and probably for a lot of you. There's no silver bullet that's gonna fix everything. Probably. Throughout my life, I've never been and never will be that perfect sleeper I want to be so bad. Oh. Tastes like dreams. My parents always had trouble getting me to sleep. My sister tells a story about one time when we were sharing a bed and she woke up the next day on the floor and I was on the bed like this, covering the whole thing. Bad brother. I've always been pretty self-centered and awesome. I was always the last to fall asleep at sleepovers. In my 20s, I was always the last to leave a bar or a party, and I'd always wonder why my friends were so tired. My wife sleeps like a brick, and it's stupid. I always want that sleep, but I have to accept that that's not who I am. I also had to accept that I'd never be a Ninja Turtle. My name would have been Van Gogh, and my weapon would have been the kukri. And cuckoo for kukri would be my catchphrase. Also, sorry, Van Gogh, England. Also, sorry, Van Gogh, Netherlands. Also, sorry, Canada and Wisconsin. But no, I have to accept the reality I'm given. But what I can do is try to remember the thing that I like to say from time to time. Perfect is the enemy of the good. Like Raphael, he's flawed, but he's good. Not gonna get perfect sleep, but I can make improvements here and there, add tools to my tool belt. And if I fail sometimes, just accept it, because if I don't, then I'm gonna get stressed and I won't be able to sleep and play the long game. I didn't sleep well this time, but I'm sleeping a little better on average over the long term. So, to do that, maybe I change aspects of my lifestyle like the rest of the list. Number 2, routine. Most slarticles are very consistent about consistency. Go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. I just recently did a video about going to bed at 10 p.m. every night, and I noticed a big improvement when I did that. And since then, I'm not 100% consistent, but I have been going to bed earlier, and it is better. And I've been using an alarm and waking up at 7:30 every morning. Some people say try to not use an alarm to wake up. Some people say do. Some people think birds are real. I meant to say aren't real. Some people think birds aren't real, but are they? For most of the past 15 years, I haven't been using an alarm, but now that I do, it seems like it's better. The next thing on the list, no alcohol. This is the biggest recent change in my life. China and I just started a year of no alcohol. We're several months in now. I don't know when this video is going live, so I'll just say several. 3 months at the time of shooting this. It didn't really increase the amount of sleep I get. I still wake up in the middle of the night, but it does feel like I'm getting better, more rejuvenating sleep. It is common knowledge that alcohol reduces the amount of REM sleep you get. By REM, I mean REM, which is the band that sings Stand in the Place Where You Were. They help you get good sleep. It actually stands for rapid eye movement. It's a phase of sleep. You know this, come on. Also, not drinking alcohol makes it easier to go to bed earlier because alcohol does give you an energy boost. At least it gives me one initially, and then I get tired. I know a lot of people that actually use alcohol to fall asleep. Alcohol's a complicated thing, but in general, I think my sleep is better because I am not drinking alcohol. Speaking of substances, I do no caffeine after 2 p.m. And usually I'm done with coffee before noon. Some say you shouldn't have it at all. Some say love, it is a river. That don't make a lick of sense, Bette Midler. I have quit coffee entirely for a month. That didn't help with the middle of the night wakey-wakeys, though. Maybe a month's not long enough. Maybe I'll revisit. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Definitely it has caffeine. But for now, and for most of my adult life, I don't drink coffee in the afternoon. And if I did, it would destroy my sleep. Because I have done it before, back in my stupider years. Since quitting alcohol, though, I have started doing something that I used to consider sacrilege. Drinking decaf. To be fair, it's whole bean decaf, freshly ground and made with the pour-over method. So, it's actually very delicious. But I started drinking it because it's nice to drink something in the evening that's delicious that isn't alcohol or some sugary drink. But I'm still getting jacked up on the caffeinated version in the mornings, don't worry. Yes, I know decaf has a small amount of caffeine in it. I just haven't noticed any difference in my sleep since I started drinking it. But speaking of consuming things in the hours before bed, don't eat in the hours before bed. This is something I mostly do. As in don't do. I don't consume things in the hours before bed. Sometimes I don't, as in do. But I never eat a lot before bed, and It hasn't really been a problem. Next one, exercise. You move around, you get tired, you sleep better. You sit on your butt, you don't get tired, you don't sleep better. Science. But sitting fun, Craig! I know. Sitting fun. But it's about trade-offs. But exercise doesn't just help me with sleep, it helps me in a lot of other ways. And the people who help me with exercise are the sponsor of this video, Copilot. It's not the only app I have on my phone. It's just like another page. They used to be called Delta Trainer. I've been talking about them for over a year now, and they've been enormously helpful. They make things so easy. My trainer, Nathaniel, gives me different workouts each week. I don't even have to think about it. That's the best thing. He's like, lift this, push this, pull this, and I just do it. I hope he doesn't let this power go to his head and use it for evil. Rob this bank, commit this fraud. He seems like a good guy. Will you ever use your powers for evil?
Define evil?
Okay,
I might increase a rep or two here or there. It's never intrinsically evil. It's always for the betterment of your body.
Okay. I've never been this physically fit in my life, and it's really thanks to Copilot. I talk with Nathaniel regularly. He constantly checks in asking how the workout was, anything needs to be changed. And it's nice to have someone to talk to, because I'm friendless. Would you consider us friends, Nathaniel?
Of course.
I have a friend. When one of my old man nooks or crannies is hurting, I tell him about it and we adjust. I even asked Nathaniel to help me do a little stretch routine before sleep, and it helps. I love it. I'd be using it even if they weren't a sponsor. It's not really just an app. You are hiring a personal trainer for lower cost, so you can click the link below and get 20% off forever, $99 a month as opposed to $129 a month, and a 14-day free trial. All right. Moving on. Light in the morning. They say you're supposed to, have light around and stuff. And I try to do that. I go for walks. I go for runs. I work next to a window. I hang out by the window sometimes. Naked. But in general, I don't really notice that it helps that much. But it might help, so I try to do it, but I don't worry about it too much. I just throw it in the soup and see if it cooks, And that's my lifestyle tips. Now, for the practical tips. In bed. That sounds like a sexual innuendo or something. 1. No phone in bed. I don't always follow this rule, but I generally try to. They say you should avoid blue light in bed. I believe them, but anecdotally, I don't really know. But I think avoiding my phone leads to more sleep, maybe because of blue light, but also because I avoid the horrible stimulation you get from the internet, fueling the swirling brain thoughts. So just phone away from bed is general good blanket policy. Doesn't always work. Sometimes I'm in the middle of reading something on my phone and I put it down and I walk away from it for a while and I go to bed. But it's still swirling in my brain thoughts. A better policy would probably be to avoid the phone or anything really stimulating for an hour or two before bed. And I'm working on that. But it's tough when you're a parent and you only have an hour or two of freedom every day. Or maybe we should throw away our TVs and I should buy a flip phone and quit the internet entirely. That's pretty drastic, but maybe I'll get there someday. Baby steps. Life is complicated. Perfect is the enemy of the good. Try not to have your phone in bed. It's probably not good. I'm mostly successful at it. Moving on. Reading. A book. Not the internet. Not smut. Maybe smut. I don't know. Reading in bed tends to make me fall asleep. I don't know what's different about reading a book versus reading the internet. Besides the blue light, probably partially because it's not shocking news, it's not interactive, it's not sensational, it's not real. If you're reading fiction, sometimes it's hard to tell what's real and what isn't. One notch against the blue light theory is sometimes I read a book on my phone and that also works. But that's dangerous because then you're just a swipe away from all the internet trash. Side note, I gotta stop looking at pictures of trash on the internet. Why do I do it? Just seeing other people's dirt makes me feel more clean because I'm so unclean. But yes, I try to read in bed. I go in phases. Sometimes I'm reading a book for a while and then I stop and I don't know why and I'm like, quit life, nothing works, I hate it. No! I recognize that sometimes I'm going to fail. These things go in phases. Perfect is the enemy of the good. So if you try reading and it works for a while, but you stop, you can always go back. You can do this. Next, blackout curtains and white noise. This is something that China and I have been doing for many, many years. I've been using a fan to go to sleep since before I knew China, probably 30 years, back when I was like 37. So I'm 67 now. It's a joke about me being old. It's very funny. I don't even know what it's like without them. Maybe we should quit for a month. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Now, my newest trick, and perhaps my favorite, I think it really works. Progressive muscle relaxation. Basically, you go through several muscle groups and you tense them up for 5 seconds and you breathe in and then you let it out. There's a link down there to how you do it, but here's a quick rundown. 5 seconds of hands, then biceps, then triceps, then shoulders, forehead like this, squinting eyes, smiling like this, clenching your jaw, going like this, arching your back like this, stomach, butt, thighs, feet like this, feet like this. Training your body to recognize which muscles are tense and to get them to relax. Sometimes muscles are half tense and you don't even notice. Nearly every time I do it, about 10 to 15 minutes later, I fall asleep. It might not specifically be because of this exercise. It could just be because I'm putting my mind through a routine. It could be the constant regular breathing. Whatever it is, it works. I like it a lot. Another thing I've tried is meditation. That tends to work too. Similar reasons. Another thing, 4-7-8 breathing method. First, you exhale like this. Breathe in for 4 seconds through your nose. Hold for 7 seconds. And then exhale for 8 seconds. And do it again. I think I'm getting tired doing it right now. Another one, I've done several videos about this, journaling. Lately, I've just been doing a journal on my phone. Then I don't have to turn a light on. I sleep with China in the room. I don't have to rustle around a bunch of paper. It's really quick and easy. You need to grab it as long as I'm not swiping over to internet trash. Whatever problem I'm working on in my brain that's keeping me awake, just write it down in a journal. Often you solve problems by writing. You don't do it all the time, but it helps you stop thinking about it. Another thing, a gratitude list. You could write it down or you could just list it off in your brain. Just list the things you're grateful for and the people. I find that when I do that, it calms me, it relaxes me. Another thing I sometimes do, count backwards from 100 slowly and try to picture the numbers in my head, or spell the word nothing, picturing the letters slowly. And those are the things I do. Here's a list of things I've tried that didn't really work, but maybe I'll try again at some point. Weighted blanket. A lot of people say that it works, and maybe it does for them, but it didn't really work for me. Quitting coffee. I mentioned this before. I might try it again for longer. Maybe it'll work differently now that I'm also not drinking alcohol. I don't know. I did a video about sleep positions. I tried different sleep positions. It was a miserable failure. Going to bed at 7 p.m. Another miserable failure video. Biphasic sleep. One big chunk of sleep. That's called monophasic sleep. Then you got your 2 chunkers. That's biphasic sleep. Not really a failure, but it was just impractical in the long run to keep it up. Things I haven't tried, but I'm thinking about doing. A sleep study. I do want to do a sleep study at some point. Many of you think I have sleep apnea. I don't snore. I know you can still have sleep apnea if you don't snore. There could be other problems that could be uncovered, and it will probably make a pretty interesting video. Here's one I recently came across. Forehead cooling. A lot of people claim that that's a good thing. There's some devices out there you can get. They're super expensive. I don't plan on spending any money on it, but I might try that at some point. On the Beard Lovers subreddit, I asked you if you had any tips. Calwo Wolf Siege said, cold shower an hour before bed. I've done cold showers. Uncomfortable. But not before bed. I might try that. Modest Girl has an interesting one. You tell a story in your head and you continue the story every night. I've read about other people doing this, and I have a link to a blog post about someone doing this, and that's interesting. I might try that. You also brought up China in my podcast that we don't do anymore called Story Not Story. Your post kind of inspired me to try to bring that back. Side note, China and I have a new podcast, In Flickness and in Health, that we're also putting up on Wheezy News, in which we watch a series of movies like we did the Christmas series. Currently, we're going to watch every Tom Hanks movie. Dr. Peacocks85 says, sleeping with your head at the foot of the bed. That's interesting and fun. I might try that as long as it doesn't disrupt other people that sleep in the bed with me. There's just one other person. Shy Coconut has a very specific nighttime routine before bed. And that is something I guess I've never really done. I mean, I do have a routine. I take my contacts out, I brush my teeth. Sometimes I read a book. Sometimes I just try to go to sleep right away. So I guess it's not that good of a routine because I'm changing it up. Maybe I need to figure out a better specific routine. Blue Tannery and Brandwiches talk about brown noise. I was unaware of brown noise. I use a fan. I don't know if that's white noise, or brown noise, or purple noise, but that works. Maybe I should try specifically brown noise. I listened to it after I read your posts, and I kind of felt sleepy right away, but that could have been placebo, or I'm an old man. And a lot of you talk about lavender scented stuff. I don't know. I guess I could try lavender. So that's it. I hope you try some of these, especially progressive muscle relaxation. That has really been helping. I know some of you are going to suggest I read the book Why We Sleep, because you always do when I do a sleep video. This is, I took the dust jacket off. That's Why We Sleep. I've been reading it, and there's tips at the back, which I think I've tried all of them. Many of you will point out that someone wrote a blog about all the inaccuracies in Why We Sleep, and yes, I'm aware of that too. Point is, I'm not just some dingus. I'm a dingus that tries to do research. Let me know in the comments all the ways in which what I'm doing is stupid, or what works for you. That's probably more constructive. And a low-angle close-up reminder that you can click the link below and get Copilot for over 20% off per month forever and a 14-day free trial. Look at me, I'm talking without moving my lips. YouTube thinks you'll like that video. Subscribe there and hit the bell if you actually want to subscribe. Apparently that's how it works. And you can support me on Patreon, monthly live streams. You get early releases of these videos. Lately, I've been getting them done a lot earlier than they come out on YouTube, so that's exciting for the people on Patreon at least, and it's good to be excited, but not too close to bedtime. Thanks for watching.